The weekend. We all look forward to it. But what would happen if your country decided to change the days that make up a weekend? Well, they're about to find out in the United Arab Emirates. Hi there, it's Jeff, and this is Plain English lesson number 428. JR is here too. You can't hear him, but his presence is always felt. He's the producer working behind the scenes to bring you these audio lessons every week and uploading all the content to plainenglish.com. The best way to get to each lesson is by the lesson number. So today is 428, and you can find the full content at plainenglish.com/428. All right, coming up today, the song says everybody's working for the weekend, but the weekend means something different depending on where you live. In the Middle East, it has traditionally been Friday and Saturday, but the United Arab Emirates is changing its weekend from Friday and Saturday to Saturday and Sunday to match the Western world. Today, we'll talk about that transition. The English expression we'll talk about today is decide on, and we have a quote of the week with an invented word. Let's dive in. In most Western countries, the work week is Monday through Friday, and the weekend is Saturday and Sunday. However, in much of the Middle East, the weekend is Friday and Saturday. The work week starts on Sunday. Why is that? It has to do with Christianity and that Sunday is a day of worship and rest. In the Islamic tradition, however, Friday is a day of prayers. In Judaism, the day of rest goes from Friday night to Saturday night. Therefore, our secular calendars are aligned with the religious traditions in our respective parts of the world. With the advance of globalization, it makes sense that most people who participate in global commerce should share a similar definition of a work week. And so, even areas that have different religious traditions have adopted the Western work week of Monday through Friday. The United Arab Emirates is a small, wealthy country comprised of 7 emirates. The most famous are Dubai and Abu Dhabi. The UAE, especially Dubai, is a regional destination for shopping, culture, and tourism, and a global destination for business and finance. About 10 million people live in the UAE. Just 11% are citizens. You heard that right. 89% of the people living in the UAE are expatriates, citizens of other countries. Like most of the Middle East, the UAE has observed the weekend on Friday and Saturday. Muslim prayers are on Friday mornings. But the UAE, as an international hub for business and finance, has decided that it will move its weekend to align with the Western work week of Monday through Friday. A complete transition, though, would complicate the Islamic tradition of Friday prayers. So, the UAE has decided on a compromise. From Monday to Thursday, working hours will be 7:30 in the morning until 3:30 in the afternoon. On Friday, work will go from 7:30 until about noon, with work at home encouraged. Prayers will be moved from the mornings to 1:15 in the afternoon on Fridays. If you're doing the math in your head, you may have noticed that this only adds up to 4.5 days of work in the week. This will be the first time a country has introduced a work week of less than 5 days. In other words, if your move to Portugal doesn't work out, you can always try the UAE. The UAE says this is a way to encourage more work-life balance. At the start, only government offices and universities will be required to adopt the new work week. However, many private businesses are expected to align with the official new schedule. The new policy is also expected to make it easier for expatriates to move to the Emirates and adapt to the culture. If the local stock market moves its weekend, it will make it easier for foreign investors to trade stocks. Anyone who ships something to or from the UAE often must wait an extra day if their shipments are around a weekend. That could speed up if the weekends are aligned. People outside the region will find scheduling calls and meetings easier. This will complicate life a little bit. The new schedule allows just over an hour to get from work to prayers. Whatever time people may have spent getting ready for prayers will be cut short. Like going to church on Sunday, people want to look good, not disheveled after a workday. And in Dubai's luxury hotels, Friday brunch is a tradition for after prayers. The luxurious brunches with free-flowing alcohol will have to move later in the afternoon on Friday. Will it still be brunch? Or they'd have to move to Saturday. Office workers will lose something precious: their quiet Sundays. Sunday is a quiet day for people who work with clients and colleagues outside the region. There are fewer calls and fewer emails because so many contacts are off. This new policy is part of a broader effort in the Middle East to diversify economies away from the oil and gas industries that have sustained the region for so long. The UAE is competing with Saudi Arabia to attract expats and foreign investment. Both countries have been relaxing some strict rules that are uncomfortable for foreigners. Last year, the UAE lifted its ban on cohabitation by unmarried couples, and it eliminated the need to have a license to drink alcohol. The government made this announcement on December 7th, 2021. The new weekend starts on January 1st, 2022. They gave everyone less than a month's notice to change the structure of their daily lives completely. Now, any weekend plans for 2022 will be disrupted. Every wedding, every weekend away, all that now must shift forward a day. You know, that point about Sundays is real. I've spent a few months in India over the years, and Mondays over there were my favorite workday. Now, I worked with colleagues there in India, but it was primarily for projects based in the US. And Monday mornings in India are Sunday nights back home. So our Mondays would be slower work days. We'd have a chance to catch our breath before all the emails and calls started up for the rest of the week. So pity those office workers in Dubai who will lose their first quiet day each week. Today, we are going to talk about the phrasal verb decide on. Typically, when you decide, you use it with a verb. We decided to go out to breakfast. We decided to go to the movies this weekend. The UAE decided to change its weekend. That's decide plus an infinitive verb. When you use decide on, you use it with a noun. We are not describing an activity. We are describing the choice. We are saying what our choice is. We usually use this after we think about multiple options for a while. For example, let's say we decide to go out to dinner. Where are we going to go? We could go to an Italian restaurant, a Mexican restaurant, or a Greek restaurant. After looking at the menus, we decided on the Greek restaurant. We decided to go out to dinner. That's an activity. We decided on the Greek restaurant. That's a thing, our choice. So now, you get to the restaurant and you have another choice. What will you eat? The last time I went to a Greek restaurant, I ordered an appetizer and a main course. There were many good choices I could have made. For the appetizer, I decided on the village salad. I love a good Greek village salad with fresh feta cheese. I decided on branzino for the main course, a type of white fish. So last night, I decided to watch a movie on Netflix. But which movie would I choose? I scrolled through many options and finally decided on The Unforgivable, starring Sandra Bullock. That was pretty heavy. It makes you think and question your assumptions about right and wrong. But I was okay with that kind of a movie last night. Last week, however, I was in the mood for something funny. So last week, I scrolled through the movies and decided on a comedy called Stuck Together. It's a French movie about all the people who live together in a building in Paris. At the beginning of the pandemic, they have to learn how to get along with each other. Earlier today, you heard that the UAE will change its weekend from Friday and Saturday to Saturday and Sunday. But that would disrupt Friday prayers. The UAE had a choice. Should they leave the weekend the same? Should they change the weekend and disrupt Friday prayers? They decided on a compromise. Change the weekend, but end the week at noon on Friday and move prayers to the afternoon. Their choice was that compromise. They decided on a compromise. You can use this in the form of a question. What did you decide on? So imagine you have a friend looking for a new place to live, and that friend has narrowed it down to just 2 places he likes. One is bigger, but farther from the city center, while the other is smaller, but closer to the action. The friend is thinking about it and thinking about it, and the last time you talked, which was a week ago, he still hadn't decided. So then you call one day and you ask, which apartment did you decide on? You're asking, what was the choice that you made? And the answer will come in the form of a noun, a choice. The answer might be, I decided on the bigger one. Or the answer might be, I decided on the one closer to town. Naming a new baby is hard. Some couples know what they want to call their baby well in advance. You always have a few months' notice to think about it. But other couples don't decide on a name in advance. This always shocks me. The baby is born and the parents don't even have a name yet. You had all this time to think. So anyway, you can ask a new parent, what name did you decide on? Last year, many people decided on Olivia for girls and Liam for boys. That's according to a list of the most popular baby names of 2021. Well, I saw another list of names that were once popular but are no longer popular. So guess what? In the age of smart speakers, fewer and fewer people are deciding on Alexa. Every Monday, I have to decide on a quote. Sometimes I decide on one in advance. Other times I get to this point in the lesson prep and I must decide on one at the last minute. I'm like those new parents, surprised by the birth of a baby and unprepared with a name. Well, this week I read a magazine article about how our lives are arranged around a 7-day week. Now, the weekend might change from place to place, but the 7-day week is the same almost everywhere. The article traced the history of how the 7-day week developed. Anyway, in the article, the author of the article, Jill Lepore, made this comment. Lately, there's also the pandemic week, every day a blur's day. Now, this is a play on words. A blur is like when nothing is clear and everything looks the same. And so the writer made up this word, blur's day, which rhymes, of course, with Thursday. So she's saying that every day runs together with working from home during the pandemic and disrupted childcare and all the rest. Lately, there's also the pandemic week, every day a blur's day. Well, that's all for today, Monday, December 27th, 2021. We're almost ready to turn the page to 2022. Are you making any New Year's resolutions? That's when you decide to do something different in your life just because the calendar shows a new year. I don't really do them, but if you want to do one, check out lesson 117, plainenglish.com/117. In that lesson, we talked about why most New Year's resolutions fail and how to make better resolutions and keep them. Well, if one of your priorities in 2022 is to upgrade your English, then we'd love to have you as a member of Plain English Plus. We've gotten a lot of new members lately, all of them enjoying the videos, personal feedback, interactive English lessons, exercises, live calls, and more. And if you'd like to join, you can do so very quickly and easily at plainenglish.com/plus, Plus, and that's where you'll find all the tools you need to upgrade your English in 2022. Well, that's all for today. We'll be back on Thursday, for a new Plain English lesson. See you then.